Hey guys, so this is the god-awful floor in this bedroom. This is all that's left. I already did more than half this room. And what I did was I pull up the linoleum tiles, then I paint the floor a nice beautiful walnut brown. And, and it's 1,000 times better looking than this shit. So let me show you what I do. This is sticky, so you don't touch it. And I work in sections and I try to work my way out the door. And you always want to leave a path for yourself to get out. So I just pulled out about 30 tiles. It took me about an hour and a half to get them up. And I've been working on this for about 4 days now. And this is the last day. I plan on pulling up the rest of these tiles. I plan on priming the floors, doing 2 layers of the dark walnut color. And then after that dries, I plan on doing a couple layers of a water-based polyurethane to help protect the paint coat underneath. So what I do is, I've been using this. This is what I use to fill in the holes when I spackle and things like that. It's like the best thing I've found to do this. Sometimes they'll come out super easy and they pop out like nothing. A lot of these though, I feel like they have like a stronger adhesive, and then I have to really work to get it out. And sometimes I break it up into sections. And then over here I got these nails, so I gotta get these nails out. And I'll do that in a second. And then I'll show you, I'm gonna get this one up. And maybe another 4 more. And then I'm gonna start priming the floor a bit. Because I kinda need something to be able to walk on it. And I do a light, this is sticky. It's really sticky. And then I do a really light layer of a primer to get rid of the stickiness. And then I do a proper layer of primer. And then let that dry, and then I do 2 coats of paint. And you gotta use the right paint. You have to use porch and patio paint. You can't just use wall paint. And there we go. See? And this is today's pile so far. These things are heavy, so once I get a big enough pile, I throw them out. I put them all in a bag, and then I toss them out. So literally you gotta find a way to get it into a corner. And you start lifting it, and sometimes it'll come out easy, and sometimes you gotta work on it. I've had some that would broke up like it was glass, and I have to get each and every little piece out. And I've been doing it in sections. I did more than half the bedroom in 2 sections, and this last section I'm doing in 1 day because I have to have it done. And the reason I'm doing this way is because my mother's away, and this is her room, and she wants to come back Thursday, and today's Tuesday. So if I do it today, I can let it dry tonight, Wednesday, and then Thursday morning, I have Thursday afternoon to get this room back together and move everything in carefully, because it takes a while for the whole floor to cure. It's each layer. It's like when you paint your nails. Each layer has to properly dry, and then it hardens. This is gonna be a hard one. And literally. And then I'm lucky and a little ambidextrous, so I'll switch hands, but I basically gave myself tendinitis trying to get these out. And there is no easy way to do this. And this is the second room. I did the smaller bedroom, and that was easier because I had no furniture in there, and they just popped out. Only maybe a few I had to struggle with, but they literally just popped out. Like, it was so easy. And this room, it's the total opposite. They're so hard to get out. And I've just been doing, I do a few, put a really light layer of primer, and then I move on, do a few more, another light layer of primer. And then once I get a certain amount, a certain area covered, and I can walk on the floor, then I'll do a proper layer of primer. And then the primer protects the wood, actually. This floor is shit. You really should sand your floor first. You should really take out the glue. I did that with the leather bedroom. My mom was here. She helped me with the empty bedroom. I took out all the tiles. She cleaned the floor and got rid of all the glue. And then I did the rest of the work. And I actually painted that room too. But I'm on a time crunch. I don't have time to take out, to work on all this glue. Like the tiles are taking me forever. And this is the hardest part. Everything else is pretty easy. And you just gotta keep working on it. And then this project started because I did the closet and there were tiles in the closet and I just painted the closet white. I popped out all the tiles and then I just primed and painted that, and that took like an hour tops. That was so easy. They all popped out. I was able to paint and reorganize that closet, and I'll show you guys a picture of that. I either want to show you guys this one. This might come out. Almost. So, yeah. You're lucky when it comes out like that. Sometimes they come out really easy. Sometimes they're even easier, like you barely stick something in there and it comes right out. And then other times it's it's a real struggle. I just work it in there as best as I can and try to use a tool to help you along. This is stuck. And you always work your way out of the room. Don't corner yourself in, because then you'll get stuck. And in this case, I would have to walk around this whole sticky mess, and it would be horrible if I did it from the doorway to the wall, because it's really sticky. All right, so I'm gonna finish this one, and I'm probably gonna get these last two, and then I'll show you how I do a really light layer of prime on this. It dries really fast. It still leaves like a little tackiness, but you don't stick to it at all, and then you can walk on it and then do the floor properly. So yeah, that little Pollock mess, that's all the primer I have left. I actually have to run to my local hardware store, which luckily is like a block and a half away, and get more floor primer. But basically, this is just a really light coat just to get rid of the stickiness. This will dry really fast because it's very light. I don't even care how it looks like. I just want to get rid of that stickiness so I can walk on the floor, and then I can do a real proper layer of primer. That'll dry. Then I continue to do more of these tiles. I'm going to finish this little section right here, and I'm going to run to the store, grab some primer because I want to make sure I have that before my local hardware store closes. And then I'll continue pulling up these tiles, and then I'll show you how I'm gonna finish pulling these up, and then I'll show you how I do a proper layer of primer, let it dry, and then I'll show you how I do the paint. It's taken me 5 hours to get to this point, and I have 2, 4, 6, about 8.5 left to take out. And I don't know what kind of glue is on this thing. This thing is no joke. Look at that. It's peeled, like my hand stuck to something, and it peeled the skin off my hand. It's like, oh my god, this stuff is crazy. So that's it. I got the last ones out, and I'm finishing priming this floor, and then I'm going to go have dinner because I've been doing this. Oh my god, I started at 12:45 and it's now 6:20. So yeah, I'm starving. So that's it. I'm gonna cover up the last of this. That was horrible. That was worse than horrible. This is the last part of this room, and that was the most hardest part. I did like 70% of this bedroom, and this last 30% of it was the worst ever. Never doing this again. So I'm gonna finish priming this floor, and then once I'm done priming, I'm gonna go eat something. I'll be back in about an hour, and it should be dry enough so I can start doing the first coat of my dark walnut paint on this floor. Oh my god, it's horrible. Oh my god, don't ever do this. This is the dumbest idea. Do not do this. I do not recommend this for anybody. If you hate somebody, have them do that for you. So, I'm pretty much done. See? Almost done. I'll be back soon. Alright, so I did 2 layers of primer. And right now I'm cutting in the edge with a brush. So then I can go through and do the rest of the floor with a roller. And this will be the first coat of paint. And then I do the edges. Make like a nice little border around it so it's easy to roll around. I'm not too worried about my trim because I'm having the entire trim replaced in the room. So normally you want to paint first. You paint your walls first and then do the floors, but it quite didn't work out that way for me. So I'm having the entire room's gonna get redone. Later in the week, they're gonna come in, do the whole, do the walls and everything, and then they're replacing this entire trim area all around the room. So I'm not too worried about getting the paint on here. Else I would have taped it off. And if you can take it off, you take it off, and then you can always put it back on. But mine's is old and it's rotted, and if I take it off, it's gonna crumble. So they promised me that they would take care of the floor. They would put drop cloths in, and they wear the special things over their shoes, the little booties, so it's not to get my floors ruined. Because if they ruin my floors, I swear to God, it's not gonna be a good thing. So yeah, I'm gonna go around, do this along the room, along the whole border. And then I'll go through and I'll roll. It's so much faster now. I'm gonna go through and I'll go through and I'll use the roller and I'll cover the whole floor, and I'll do 1 layer first, let that dry, and then I'll come in and do a second layer. So that's it for right now. Gotta get this done. It's really, it's crunch time. I gotta get this done by Thursday, and it's Tuesday, so almost finished. This is the last of it. So I'll be back. Alright, so this is the fun part. The easier part. So it's about a 3/8 of an inch nape on this roller. You do 1/2 inch also, and then they have some that are for like smooth surfaces, rough surfaces. I get the one for the rough surface because this floor is not exactly smooth and it wasn't sanded, and it does make a difference with the finish. So roll it, and then I'll start, and then I try to go along with the direction of the wood. You kind of want to go with the grain. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. You'll see that. So you kind of go in the direction of the wood where the planks are. You go in the direction of the wood boards. And sometimes I go a little bit, and I always smooth it out in the direction it goes. And you want to get a nice thin layer. Thin layers, because then you want it to dry properly. And then if you do it in sections, like I did, it took me technically did this in about 3 different sections, the whole room. This is the last section of it. When I stop a section, I stop in a, you can see where the wood ends. Like I always stop in a line. Like you can see right here. I would end right here. You always end in a line. So that when you can continue again in a line, and that way if there's a slight variation or anything like that, it looks consistent. It looks like it's part of the floorboard. And you can see the wood through it. No, it's not a good picture right now, but yeah, once you're done, you can still see the wood through it. So you can tell like it's hardwood floor. And then I got the satin finish because again, my floors aren't sanded and they're not perfect. So the satin finish helps hide that. But if you have really nice floors, you sand your floors, you got a nice smooth floor, you can go for like a gloss, a semi-gloss, you can get a full gloss. There's all sorts of different finishes you can get. but the sand finish gives a nice look and it detracts from the imperfections. So when you just look at the room with your eyes, it just naturally looks nice. You actually have to get down and look and like really start pointing out what's wrong with the floor, which is why I didn't get the gloss finish. I would have liked to get on a nice little gloss finish to make it look a little shiny, but then that shiny gloss really emphasizes whatever defects is on your floor. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do the first coat and then let it dry, and then I'll come in and I'll do a second coat. So we gotta finish this up. I'll be back. So there you go, first layer. I just painted myself out of the room. And it's already 1,000 times better than that old blue linoleum. I couldn't stand that thing. I couldn't stand that thing. That thing was awful and it was ugly and it was dirty. But yeah, this is the first layer of paint down. I'm gonna let it dry, then I'll come back. I'll do a second layer, let that dry, and then I'll start doing the first layer of polyurethane. So I did 2 coats of paint and it's dry. And now I'm just going in with a brush and I'm carefully just going anywhere I can see where the primer peeks through. I just fill it in real quickly with a brush because that gets into all the little nooks and crannies that the roller isn't able to get to. So I'm gonna do this real quick, finish it up. This doesn't take long. This is just like a few minute process to go through and do the whole floor wherever I see any little white spots peeking through. And then I'll come in, let it dry, and then I'll come back and I'll do the first layer of the poly. That's the canopy. You can't see it. Make sure it's porch and patio paint. Do not use regular wall paint. Porch and patio. So it's the floor, and this is my lamb's wool pad that I'm going to use for the polyurethane. I have a water-based polyurethane. This is the floor. Make sure you wear white cotton socks when you're walking on your floor so you don't leave your footprints all over the place. And I would do that for like about a week or 2 after you're done. It's still curing and it takes a long time for the floors to dry properly. It's like nail polish. Like the top layer will be drying kind of tacky, but the layers underneath need to still harden. So that's the one I'm using. Polyurethane for floors. It's water-based. It's really fast. It dries super fast. You have to do a nice thin layer. If you do a thick layer, it leaves, because it comes out, when you do it, it comes out a bluish milky white color. I'll show you guys. So when you do the polyurethane, you want to make sure you do nice thin coats, and it leaves like a whitish, bluish tint to it, but it will dry clear if you do thin coats. If you do thick coats, it will stay whitish, milkish, because it happened to me before. I did 4 coats, and the 4th coat, I did a little too thick, and then it left the white. See, it left the white cast on the floor, and then I just did another layer of the brown on top of that, and then I did 3 more layers of polyurethane, so it wasn't that big of a deal. Plus I had to redo a section anyway. And you want to work fast because this stuff dries really fast. You want to keep a wet edge. And so right now I'm going to do the rest of this floor before it dries. See? This is the first coat dry of the polyurethane. If you do thin coats, it dries clear. So now I gotta do another at least 3 more coats, and then I'm done. And then I'm gonna sweep real quick because if you leave stuff behind, it will stick to the polyurethane. So I'm gonna sweep up whatever little things I tracked in. All right, bye.